Esteemed guests, colleagues, and stakeholders, a warm welcome to all. We are Group 9, Voice of the Child, and it's my privilege to introduce you to my team members. Miss Larissa Blackman, Miss Venetia Ramlochan, Miss Radha Babulal, Miss Brianna Ghani, Miss Giselle Bernard Baritois, Miss Thalia Arismandez, Miss Khadija Aligua Solomon, Miss Jody Richards, and me, Miss Natasha Batiste Johnson. This presentation articulates a comprehensive vision for child rights advocacy, emphasizing the imperative to safeguard and advance the rights of all children within the national context. It begins by establishing a conceptual foundation, offering clear definitions of the terms child, childhood, and child rights. The discourse then critically examines two significant child rights violations currently affecting children in Trinidad and Tobago, supported by recent national case studies and linked directly to relevant articles of the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, CRC, thereby highlighting the urgency for systemic reform. Subsequent focus is placed on three priority areas: education, nutrition, and the prevention of child abuse that require immediate governmental intervention to ensure the full realization of children's rights as framed by the CRC. Furthermore, the pivotal role of early childhood educators as advocates for children's rights is explored. This discussion proposes actionable strategies to advance rights-based education, strengthen child agency, and foster meaningful partnerships with families and communities. Ultimately, this analysis underscores the necessity of a coordinated, multi-sectoral approach to creating an inclusive society in which every child's rights are safeguarded, acknowledged, and implemented. Now, I would like to introduce one of my colleagues, Ms. Brianna Ghani, who will elaborate on the definitions of child, childhood, and child rights. Ms. Ghani.
Thank you, Natasha. A child is a young human being, typically under the age of 18, who is still developing physically, emotionally, socially, and intellectually. Children need love, care, support, and protection from adults to grow up healthy and confident. They rely on families, teachers, and communities to guide them, nurture their potential, learn about the world, build values, and develop life skills. Every child has the right to feel safe, be respected, and have access to education, play, and a life free from harm and abuse. Recognizing someone as your child also means acknowledging their right to special care and protection during these important years of life. What is childhood? Childhood, particularly in the early years from birth to around age 8, is one of the most important stages of human development. During this time, young children experience rapid growth in their physical abilities, emotional understanding, language skills, and thinking processes. It is a time filled with wonder, imagination, and exploration, where learning happens best through play, social interaction, and guided experiences. Early childhood lays the foundation for future success in school and in life. Because of this, young children need safe, supportive environments, loving relationships, and opportunities to express themselves, ask questions, and develop confidence. Protecting and nurturing early childhood is essential for building strong individuals and stronger communities. What are child rights? Child rights are the basic freedoms and protection that every child is entitled to, regardless of their background, race, gender, or where they live. These rights include the right to life, education, healthcare, protection from abuse and neglect, freedom of expression, and the right to play and grow in a safe environment. Child rights recognize that children are not just small adults, they have specific needs and deserve special care and attention as they grow and develop. These rights are essential for ensuring that every child has the opportunity to reach their full potential and live a happy, healthy life. Respecting and upholding child rights is the responsibility of families, communities, governments, and the world at large. Thank you. I would now like to turn to Mrs. Alijo Solomon. Could you share at least two children's rights that you believe are being violated in our country, supported by evidence from recent new cases? This will help illustrate to our government the seriousness of our claim.
Thank you, Brianna. The United Nations Convention on the Rights of a Child outlines critical protection that all children are entitled to. Despite national efforts, recent events in Trinidad and Tobago reveal serious violations of these rights, particularly affecting vulnerable children. This presentation highlights two key cases that illustrates the urgent need for policy reform, improved accountability, and proactive protection systems. Article 19 of the CRC refers to the protection of all forms of violence, abuse, and neglect. Jaden Lalchan, a 15-year-old student, died by suicide following months of bullying at school. Despite repeated reports by family members, no adequate intervention or protection was provided. The tragedy reflects systemic failure to respond to emotional abuse and ensure student safety. Article 19 guarantees protection from physical and emotional harm, including bullying and neglect. Jaden's case demonstrates a clear breach of this right. We recommend to the government of Trinidad and Tobago to implement a national anti-bullying law, introduce school-based child protection officers, and strengthen teachers' training in identifying and addressing bullying. Article 23 of the CRC refers to the rights of children with disabilities. Reports surface of children with disabilities being tied to beds and physically abused at a Lady Hochoy home. Despite over 100 complaints, no disciplinary actions or comprehensive investigations was initiated. Article 23 ensures dignity and appropriate care for children with disabilities. The neglect and mistreatment at the Lady Hochoy home clearly violates this right. We recommend to the government of Trinidad and Tobago to conduct a full and independent investigation into the abuse claims, mandate regular inspection and oversight of all childcare institutions, provide specialized training for all caregivers of children with disabilities. In conclusion, the government of Trinidad and Tobago must take immediate action to uphold its obligation under the CRC. These cases underscore the urgent need to protect the most vulnerable children in our society. Implementing the recommended reforms will not only save lives, but restore trust in our child protection system. Let us now act before another child's right is violated. I now present Ms. Rodha with her presentation.
Thank you, Khadija, for such an articulated explanation. As a cornerstone of human development, education plays a critical role in enabling children to maximize their capabilities and aspirations. Article 28 of the CRC establishes the obligation of states to ensure free and compulsory primary education for all children and to make secondary education accessible for every child. In Trinidad and Tobago, while education has significantly expanded, disparities remain evident, particularly within rural and marginal populations. Hidden costs such as transportation, uniform, and school supplies create barriers for households experiencing structural inequality. Additionally, children with disabilities often face inadequate access to inclusive learning environments, resources, and trained support staff. The Ministry of Education highlights that the adverse pandemic related learning disruptions were unequally borne by students from vulnerable backgrounds. The absence of reliable technological infrastructure, including digital devices and internet access, thus created substantial barriers to online learning for numerous students. To address such pertinent issue, the government of Trinidad and Tobago must focus on 1. Strengthen inclusive education. Prioritize the allocation of resources towards professional development, including pedagogy, curricular modification, and the provision of supportive infrastructure to meet diverse learners' needs. 2. Enhance technological inclusivity. Ensure equitable distribution of technological resources and reliable internet connectivity for all learners, especially those in socio-economically disadvantaged regions. And number 3, enhancing school infrastructure and safety. They can promote the establishment of safe, health-conscious, and nurturing school environment that fosters consistent attendance and meaningful student engagement. Therefore, by investing in equitable, inclusive, and high-quality education, this is crucial for safeguarding children's rights in Trinidad and Tobago, ensuring that each child has the opportunity to learn, develop, and achieve their full potential. At this point, I will invite my colleague Giselle to elaborate on the critical role of nutrition in upholding children's rights and ensuring their overall well-being. Giselle?
Madam Speaker, distinguished members of the government, colleagues, and advocates for children's rights. First, let me just state that a child's right to health is one of the most essential rights, as stated in Article 24 of the CRC, where nutrition plays a key role in this, serving as the basis for a child's growth, development, and overall well-being. Without adequate nutrition, children cannot achieve their full potential, physically, mentally, or academically. Malnutrition, whether it is undernutrition or obesity, deprives these children of their future and restricts their ability to make valuable contributions to society. In Trinidad and Tobago, we encounter issues despite our school feeding program that require immediate attention. Numerous children, especially in at-risk communities, still or do not have access to affordable and healthy food. This impacts not just their health but also their capacity to learn and strive in school. Inadequate nutrition results in stunted growth, compromised immune systems, and potential chronic illness in the future. These problems can be avoided. As a government, we possess the ability to alter this course. To support children's rights, we need to focus on nutrition-based policies and programs. This involves things like increasing school meal programs, like breakfast starting at preschools and not just some primary schools, to guarantee that every child receives at least 2, not 1 but 2 healthy meals daily. 2. Controlling food environments by restricting unhealthy food marketing aimed at children and encouraging healthier choices in schools, groceries, and communities. And 3. Teaching parents and caregivers about the significance of balanced diets and how to make healthy choices even with limited budgets. And I, Madam Speaker, guarantee you, these steps are not merely investments in children, they are actually investments in our country. A well-fed child is more likely to do well in school help the economy, and lead a healthier, more productive life. By emphasizing nutrition, we are not only safeguarding children's rights, but also creating a stronger, fairer Trinidad and Tobago. So before my colleague, Jody Richards, who will be speaking on child abuse, let me just close with this. In closing, let us not forget, by safeguarding and caring for our children, we safeguard and care for the spirit of our country. Together, let us plead to make sure that no child in Trinidad and Tobago suffers from hunger or is deprived of their nutrition necessary for their growth. Thank you.
What do you think child abuse is? Child abuse refers to any harm or mistreatment of a child under 18 years old, which can take various forms such as physical, emotional, or sexual abuse. Article 19 of the Child Rights Document discusses abuse against children and stresses that the government should have laws to protect them. However, we have seen this problem increasing in Trinidad and Tobago. A 2019 report from Children Authority indicated that there were about 4,300 cases of abuse, including sexual abuse, lack of supervision, and physical abuse. The effect of these abuse are seriously impacting children aged 1 to 15. Some signs that we can look for in younger children: trauma to the genital or anus, such as bleeding, bruising, or soreness; refusal to undress at the right time, such as bathing, bath time; and also having developed nightmares or frightening dreams or sleeping problems. Among older children and teens, recognizing physical signs of abuse can be difficult, particularly if they are involved in consensual sexual activities. If they are being sexually abused, here are some signs to be aware of. Unexplained bruises might suggest a sexually abusive situation. Unexplained pregnancy with an unknown partner. Substance abuse, including drugs and alcohol. Self-harm and suicidal attempts. What measures can be proposed for our government to assist in supporting these children and preventing abuse? Formulate and execute specialized programs, carry out thorough research, and create efficient monitoring systems to tackle the problems of child abuse and neglect, enabling children to report potential abuse to authorities, investigating the causes and strategies to combat child sexual abuse. I would like to introduce Venetia Ramlochan.
Thanks, Jody, for your insights. Good day, everyone. I am Talia Aris-Mandez, and I'm excited to share with you all something that is close to all of our hearts: our children's rights, and 3 ways we as early childhood practitioners can advocate for this. If you all are following on the slides, you all will see 3 ways mentioned here. 1, by creating a right-respecting classroom. 2, teaching the rights through the curriculum. And 3, modeling democratic relationships. So let's start by giving children a voice. When we help them to make class rules or choose their activities, they feel important, which they are indeed. That's their right, always remember that. Research by Jerome et al. 2015 shows that children thrive when they feel heard. It's simple, no? We show respect and they learn to give it back. Next, teaching the rights through stories and play. Even toddlers can learn about fairness and kindness. A story about sharing or role play, even problem solving, teaches them powerful lessons. Covell and Howie, 2008, says teaching rights in the early stages of children's life help them to grow into responsible, caring people. And it can be fun too. So you could include it in activities such as puppet shows, games, sound. All of these tools work. Lastly, be the example. Children are always watching us, so let's be the model of kindness. Let's show them how to live in one where people listen, solve problems calmly, and treat each other fairly. Our tone, our action, it all teaches them what respect really looks like. Mark Newton, 2005. To wrap up, Advocating for children's rights isn't extra work, It is the work. When we listen, teach with our hearts, and lead with fairness, we build something powerful. So let's keep showing up, just not as teachers, but as champion for every child's right to be seen, heard, and respected. Thank you. Miss Larissa will share more on this in her slides.
As Talia highlighted earlier, creating a respectful classroom environment and introducing rights education are two key steps in advocating for the rights of a child. But we must also recognize that those efforts alone won't be as effective without the support of parents. Advocating for children's rights doesn't stop at the school gate, it continues into the home. One of the most powerful ways we can protect and promote children's rights is by engaging parents as partners in this work. As early childhood practitioners, we play a crucial role in equipping families with the knowledge and tools necessary to support their children's rights both at home and in the wider community. According to Article 5 of the UNCRC, parents and guardians are responsible for guiding their children in exercising their rights based on their evolving capacities, ensuring that children's rights are respected in all aspects of their lives. We can support this by keeping communication open, hosting parents' workshops, sharing flyers or newsletters, and encouraging respectful, positive discipline practices at home. For example, Article 12, which protects the child's rights to be heard. We can guide parents to include their children in family discussions and truly listen to their views. When parents understand children's rights, they are more likely to advocate for their child's development. So by creating stronghold school partnership, we can ensure that children's rights are not only taught, but truly lived both in the classroom and beyond. And now as we reach the end of our presentation, I will hand you over to Ms. Venetia, who will share our concluding thoughts.
Thank you, Natasha. Good evening, everyone. My name is Venetia Ramlojan, and in conclusion, the overview has highlighted the urgent need for a robust right-based framework to safeguard and promote the well-being of children in Trinidad and Tobago. Grounded in the principles of the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child (CRC), the discussion explored fundamental concepts of childhood, and child rights while critically addressing ongoing violations such as bullying, abuse, nutritional inadequacy, and unequal access to education. Special attention was given to the heightened vulnerabilities faced by children with disabilities. Drawing on national case studies and scholarly evidence, the analysis reinforced the vital role of early childhood educators, carers, and policymakers in championing children's rights. Central to this vision is the adoption of inclusive educational practices, the strengthening of health and nutrition programs, and the creation of safe, participatory learning environments. By fostering strong partnership between schools, families, and communities, and equipping all stakeholders with the tools to support children's holistic development, a sustainable, rights-respecting cultures can be achieved. Ultimately, the realization of every child's right requires a coordinated, multi-sectoral effort that goes beyond policy rhetoric and becomes embedded in everyday practice of institutions and individuals. In doing so, Trinidad and Tobago can build a society where every child's dignity is upheld and their voice is heard and their potential is fully nurtured.